Hey everybody, this is Damjan Gjorgjiev from Lions Rock Production, and our guest today is Philip Tasevski. You must be like, oh, I can't even pronounce his name. Okay, so let's call him Fitz. He's one of the coolest dudes from Skopje, Macedonia. Trust me. Now, if you ever come to Macedonia, don't be like every basic motherfucker who hangs around in the center of the city taking selfies. Go to a punk rock show, you'll have a hell of a time. And what's better than seeing his band called The Beginnings, who rocks for 17 years? Yeah, you heard it, they're almost mature, but why stop there? Fitz has a solo project called Black State, go check that one out. So, you thought, oh, he's just an ordinary punk guy from Europe? Well, not exactly. He's also the co-founder and art director of an international creative agency called Fabrica. Oh, and I almost forgot, he's the creator of a DIY festival called Earthquake. Ooh, and you're like, does this guy ever take a nap? Well, I don't know, maybe he'll answer that in the interview. If you want to support his work, check out his website fitz.mk. That's FITZ.mk. And of course, if you want to give support to the Break It Down show, we sure appreciate it. Go to iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to the show and give us a 5-star rating. Write us a little review about how you like the show, and these Macedonian punk rockers are so cool, you want to see them live in your town. We also support Save the Brave, so you can give them your support too at visiting savethebrave.org. Subscribe to their website. Come on, that's easy. Me and Pete sat down with Fitz and talked about punk rock, Europe, and making a Burak app, so you know it's good. Enjoy the show today with our guest, Philip Tasevski, Fitz.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay
This
Moore.
is Greg Proops.
This is Jordan Harbinger.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This is
East.
Sebastian Younger.
This is Rick
This
Marotta.
is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
Hey, this is Skunk Baxter.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
Hi there, this is Fitz, and you're listening to the Break It Down Show.
And now, the Break It Down Show with John Leon Guerrero and Pete A. Turner.
Yeah, this is fantastic. I love doing podcasts. I've got Damien co-hosting with me. And when Damien and I first started, I'm like, dude, I need you to grab some folks from Macedonia because I want the world to understand all of the Balkan region. And I think the second name he said was, we have to get Fitz because Fitz does a lot of things. Growing up in the 80s, I was a punk rock kid, and so he does music, you do apps. What don't you do? That's probably the best question. But yeah, I'm super stoked to talk to you because you're a Renaissance man, you're a European, you're a Balkans guy, and you're a buddy of Damien, so you're a buddy of mine. I'm going to let Damien go next, but I appreciate you coming on, man. I appreciate you sitting down, and you're in Greece, Damien's in North Macedonia, and I'm in Orange County, California. So this is a pretty good setup.
First of all, thank you for having me in the show. It's really a pleasure to be. I'm really so excited because when Damjan invited me, he told me for some of the people that been in the show. So I was really like, woohoo, to be a part of it. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Pete, and thanks, Pete, for coming on the show. And I really don't know where to start and how to present you, actually. So you're a singer, songwriter, guitarist. You have a punk rock band. You have your own solo career, your own record label. You organize festivals.
Yeah.
You're a co-founder and art director of marketing company. What else?
Yeah.
You have a cat. You have a dog.
Yeah,
so,
both.
So is there some sort of a secret? Do you know something that we don't know? Where do you get time for all of this?
Well, definitely I sleep very little of my time. So I sleep only 4 to 5 hours a day so I can achieve anything. But yeah, recently I'm trying to get it all done, but just trying to focus at one thing at once. It's kind of my lesson from the past because I'm doing many of these things, but basically at one moment I think I would have exploded. So I learned that it's not possible to do everything at once. So yeah, basically now I do thing by thing, project by project. So somehow I guess the most of the time I spend during the day in our company, which is a design agency or studio. But I get some days from there, like Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday, I try to focus on music half of the day at least. And it's possible if you want everything, but it can get really like heavy for you,
Yeah, you can get a easy burnout from that. I agree.
Yeah, and I have a few times, but I'm not giving it up.
Of course. So let me get back in your early days. So you started working with the New Beginning, now known as The Beginnings, the punk rock band.
Yeah.
17 years. So how it all started?
Yeah, that's the oldest thing I do actually. My punk rock band. It was called Noviot Pochatok, which is the new beginning in Macedonian. And when I started the band back in 2002, I didn't know that we're gonna get so far. I mean, we did like 5, 6 bigger European tours. We recorded 5 albums so far, and it was crazy. So after 16 years, I think it was, last year, we changed the name because somehow it would be easier for people to remember it. So we changed the name of the band. Now it's The Beginnings. And luckily, there are not many bands as The Beginnings, the name now. Yeah, which is really cool. So last year we changed the name of the band after so many years. And we also released our first record in English completely. And it's kind of like the best songs from the previous 4 albums.
Let's take that introduction and give us all some clarity on, one, why punk rock music? And 2, like, is that a common thing in North Macedonia? I mean, like all countries, you guys have your own internal struggles and strife, and that fits the punk rock ethos. But why punk, and what about punk in Macedonia?
Yeah, good question. I got to go back to my early ages because I started listening to music. Actually, my grandma somehow put me into that thing with the music stuff because she's a old folk singer, traditional Macedonian music. So I don't know, it started at an early age, and I think the punk rock thing came in my life because I was somehow a natural rebel. And it kind of like felt naturally. I was listening to a lot of, back in the 90s, I'm born in 87, so back in the 90s, I was listening to a lot of electronic music. I was listening to many different styles, but I think when I met punk rock, it somehow changed completely my life.
Hey, this is Pete. Real quick, I just want to let you guys know we are proud to announce our official support of Save the Brave, a certified nonprofit 501c3 with a charter of helping veterans with post-traumatic stress. Here's how you can help. Go to savethebrave.com, click on the link on the website, and my recommendation is this. Subscribe. Give them $20 a month. You've got subscriptions that you can turn off right now that you're not using that are $20 a month. Swap that out. Get involved. Let's help these folks out.
I think when I met punk rock, it somehow changed completely my life. Not only that I love the melodies that are so really, really the coolest melodies. It really touches you in a way that if you're a rebel, it can, you can go with it. Basically, I started going to shows here when I was in elementary school. And one of the first shows, there was this band who is still running for more than 20 years. Damjan knows it. It's called SMUT, SMUT. And it was one of my first shows, actually. I love those guys. Yeah, in the recent years, we've been really good friends. So somehow this was one of the shows that changed my life. And I was singing in some bands in elementary school. And when I was in high school, I somehow decided to have my own band. So I started what is now The Beginning. So it was completely a teenager rebel gang, like if I go back to the first album, mainly society-related themes and political stuff and sort of like that. So basically, that's how I started. Then the second album was the same rebel stuff, but more sophisticated because I was later on college. I studied sociology. I learned to write a better lyrics back then. And then after the third, the fourth album, there were more like personal matters of myself. So kind of mixed, like also society stuff, but also like personal matters and stuff like that. So that's really a short introduction for the band. And to the listeners, I can invite them to see the website and they can hear the albums for free on the website.
What's the website address?
Yeah, it's thebeginnings.band.
Thebeginning.band. Okay. And then anybody who wants to find out more about Fitz can go to Fitz, FITZ.MK. And if you can't find that, you can also get him on Twitter at Fitz, a.k.a. Feetz, F-E-E-T-Z. Or you can just Pete A. Turner and I'll get you over to Fitz. But that's how you find him.
Yeah. You are probably one of the few people around here that played punk rock show on a boat. I want to hear about it. I saw some pictures, but I wasn't there at the moment. How was that?
Well, it was one of the coolest experiences so far, I think. We have a really good crew in Ohrid that is in the south of the country by the Ohrid Lake. So we set up a show, and it was one of the best years. We did, I don't know how many shows that year, but it was one of the coolest shows, maybe ever, and decided to play on a boat. So there were only, I don't remember the amount of tickets, but there were like limited tickets. So not everybody could join that party, but it was really, really cool. Like the boat was going through the lake. We were playing. It all went like this so fast. It was really an amazing experience. Then they tried to do it for 2 times more, I think. But I think that the first time was the coolest one.
Yeah, cool party, gotta say. You gotta do it again, of course. And what about the tours in Europe? You've been on tours 4 or 5 times with the beginnings.
Well, it's not so common for bands from Macedonia or now North Macedonia to go out and play for, like a lot. People keep forgetting that 10 years ago it was really hard because before, I think 2009, there were visas for everywhere. So you could not go out and play like that easily. And there were just a few bands before that year that went out of the country and played shows. You can really like say 2 or 3. And we started getting out after this visa liberalization, and we started doing some shows outside. We were lucky because we had a friend who was working in a record company here in Skopje, and she was starting her booking career. And we got lucky that she booked some shows for us. So we started, like the first tour was going around the Balkan area for, I think it was 10 to 14 days, something like that. Then later we started going out more and more. And the biggest tour we did in Europe was for 40 days. We did 40 days because we wanted to go to Portugal. So we tried like to make the agenda, and at the 20th day we arrived at Portugal, and there's 20 more days to go back to Macedonia. So we did the circle like Macedonia, Serbia, Croatia, Slovenia, Italy, Switzerland, France, Spain. Then we were supposed to play Portugal, but only 2 days after we arrived in Madrid, the Portugal promoter really didn't answer all our emails or calls. So funny story, but we never played Portugal there.
What kind of a show is a punk rock show in Europe? How big is your band? Are you guys, I don't want to say you're a multinational band, because the second you go to Kosovo, you're a multinational band, and heck, that's not very far at all. So how big is your reach? I mean, you're on tour. Are you guys supporting someone else's tour? Are you guys headlining? Talk to me about the size of the band and the scope and what it's like to do that in Europe.
Basically, we are a small band. We played in smaller venues, but we also played some bigger festivals. I can say is that basically like the scene is, you write to people who have same interests as you in the hardcore punk scene. So you can get a show, you can get nice sleeping place, or you sometimes sleep on the floor or whatever. But the promoters are really kind enough to make like a show for you in some venue, some proper sleeping place, and some food, which is mainly homemade. I know that I have heard that in the US it's not so common from some bands who have been there. I was curious to ask you about this also, maybe. I don't know. Is it like that? Do you know?
It's a mixed bag, right? Because it's so big. There are so many different places that you can build up an audience. Sometimes you tour small bars. Sometimes you do something bigger than that, and then you can always, there are so many festivals, you can get on the non-prime stage as a non-prime act, and there are just so many different places to play music. You can go on the road, but there's not a lot of money in it. Other than building an audience, it's hard to make any real cash. Like you're just kind of getting enough to get to the next place.
Yeah, it's also for us the same. Like sometimes we went in minus, sometimes we were on the zero, sometimes we were going plus. But yeah, it's really hard, I think, to live from that in Europe in overall. Like maybe for the UK is different, and for some acts in Berlin or something like that. But especially for Balkan bands, it's like, I think it's really hard because it's a bit far from everything. There's no actual music industry. So for us, like a band, I can say that we are happy to be on tour, like to have all this experience, big experience, like meet all these people, visit these places. after all, you don't spend that much money on tour because, you have the sleeping place, you have the food. So basically, it's really like a hangout with your buddies. You get in the van, you play in really cool places around Europe. And like I said, sometimes it's 10 to 15 people. Sometimes it can get really like 300 or 500, something like that. But this is mainly for, when you get placed on festival,
How about American tour? Have you ever tried that, or do you plan on going outside of Europe, maybe Asia or North America or I don't know, South America?
Well, basically, we had one chance 2 years ago, but we missed it. There was a promoter from Japan calling us like to come and visit them so we can make like 5 to 7 shows. I think we missed that opportunity, but I think it will be one day again open for us. And for the US, I think it's the hardest to get for a Balkan band or anywhere around this region. I think it's because it's a little bit far and not so many contacts like you can have in Europe. I don't know. You also need the visa. You also need some recommendation later that you will, not. Yeah, and there are some friends of mine who have been to the US. I can only say that I think it's completely different, like a different experience. So yeah, maybe someday we'll see. We have some contacts, but haven't really thought about it so far.
So here in the US, one of the things about punk rock music, and it's specific to punk rock, is that you only want to have so much success. Otherwise, you're selling out. And the punk rock community is very close-minded with this. Does that follow suit for you guys in Macedonia?
Basically, you can say that you can sell out here in Macedonia. It's really funny because we were a band at the same time who sold a song for one of the 2 most famous beers in the country. Like Skopsko is the most famous beer in the country.
Yeah.
So we have a song in a commercial which was going 2 years ago everywhere. And at the same time, we're a band who've been sleeping on the floor for many years across Europe and playing in squats for drunk punks. So it's really like, I don't know, there's no line between for us. It's like crazy. So these people outside, they buy our records. They think that we are some kind of, I don't know, like really underground band, But basically here in our country, we are just like a normal band. We go sometimes on television, sometimes we go on the radio. You can easily get to number 1, I think, also, if you are really, Macedonia is really a small country. So you just need to know the people and automatically you can get really quick. If you're good in what you do, you can really go up quickly,
What about Black State? You started this project about a year ago or something. It's pretty different from the beginnings, and it's like a perfect example of evolution in a musician. Or how did that start?
Yeah. Well, I had some side projects like in music, but I always experimented with electronic music stuff back in the early days, I think a lot more. So I was always saying to myself that as soon as I get to 30 years old, I will try to move a little bit from punk rock and try to make different music. But this came also naturally. So after I made my 30th year, I started experimenting once again. So now I only have just one song and a remix, and I'm trying to work as hard as I can on my first EP. And I try to make also the live experience ready by the end of the year, so I can try to start touring for the first time in my life, not just in squats and punk rock places. So I really want to go in different venues and play different music. So why not? I think it's really normal for a musician to try and do so. But at the same time, I have also a lot of other things to do. So it goes slowly, but I don't really mind that,
Let me ask you this, because you are so diversified in what you do. The punk rock thing seems to really be a passion for you, but is that a long-term thing? Can you be out there still punk rocking in 20 years, or do you want to be doing something that's more stable? And it's great to go out and hang out with your friends and sleep in a van or in a hotel and get fed a little bit of food and then go out and play all over the coast of France or whatever.
Yeah.
But at some point you want to have a kid and a girl or some kind of significant other.
Hey, this is Pete A. Turner from Lions Rock Productions. We create podcasts around here, and if you, your brand, or your company want to figure out how to do a podcast, just talk to me. I'll give you the advice on the right gear, the best plan, and show you how to take a podcast that makes sense for you, that's sustainable, that's scalable, and fun. Hit me up at pete@breakitdownshow.com. Let me help. I want to hear about it.
But at some point, you want to have a kid and a girl or some kind of significant other.
Yeah, well, I also have a long-term relationship. She turns out to be my wife already now, and that's also part of the story. So, but she really supports me in everything I do, and she knows that I'm really a busy person. But yeah, I think that, as long as you want to do things, you can do these things, everything that you want to do. It's just that you have to divide your time in the right amount, Basically, back to your question, our band is running for 17 years now.
Wow.
And we didn't stop until this year. This is the quietest year so far. But all of us are working on different projects currently at this year. So we kind of decided to have this year a little bit calm down, not so loud. And basically, I don't think we're ever going to stop. But who knows? I don't know. We all have this rebel thing inside us that we want to play this music still. But like I said, at the same time, I want to do for this year, I want to experiment with electronic music. The guitar player, who is my best friend, he is also a chef. So he started a YouTube channel for cooking this year. So we also want to do some other things aside. But I don't think we're ever going to stop the band. I don't think so, at least.
Okay, so then in Europe, where can you guys go tour? Can you go to Germany? I mean, obviously you said Portugal, but where is on the list that you guys are trying to go to next?
Well, we played in every possible place. I think that it can be played in Europe, in the smallest venues to much bigger ones. But basically in Europe, we haven't played only in the Scandinavian countries and in the UK and in Portugal. In general, I think we're going to try once again for Japan, maybe in the next year. We want to go out of Europe, maybe also in the US, who knows. And yeah, but basically in Europe, I think we can get easily a tour. The punk rock scene is not so as it used to be a few years ago, but you can still do it. I think the punk rock scene is at its peak right now, maybe only in Germany and in Slovenia. It's also cool with the festival. They have this festival called Punk Rock Holiday. For, I don't know, maybe 10 years it's happening. They played NoFX, Bad Religion, everybody played there. Propaganda, everybody. So I think for punk rock currently it's Germany, Slovenia, maybe some parts of Italy. Maybe, I don't know, France is a little bit more, they have these squads outside of the cities. Spain is a little bit more wild. Slovakia, for example, is they have these crusties, that's crust punky.
Wow.
So, yeah.
What about 69 Records, your own record label? How it all started?
Well, 69 Records, we started in 2005, I guess, with the release of 2006, with the release of our first records of the band. So, after a few years, we had, I think, around 30 releases. And these were mainly some local friends here starting a punk rock band or a hardcore band. We also did some releases for bands who are outside of here. For example, we did one band from South America. But back in the days, I think 10 years ago, people still used to buy a lot of CDs and LPs and cassettes. So back then we get the distribution, on every show you can go and get your record, We had some distribution, but now it's everything is digital. I don't think that many people buy records now. There's only just the vinyl collectors. So we still release records, but I think only vinyl will persist somehow.
Huh. You give a lot of your music away on your website. Is that by design because you're trying just to feed your audience? I mean, or is it not worth your money to try to sell songs for $1 a piece or whatever it is?
Basically, we just want to let the music go out, as much as it can, and see where that takes us. So they can download it now for free, and after that, we can go and play in their city. So something could happen from that, I see it as a way to get to more people easily.
Yeah, this is your hobby, the music, but your main work, you're designer and web developer in the company Fabrica, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you start working in design and web development? And
Everything is really connected about me, because when I started doing some music, I also started doing some posters and flyers for local bands, and suddenly it became my job. So around 18, I started doing a lot of, like freelancing stuff for the local clubs. I did some posters, flyers, etc. And 2 years later, I joined one of the two major record labels here in Macedonia. One of them was called Lithium Records. So I started working for them, and basically I did everything related to design and web and video in the company. So for example, for the Dexter festival, which is one of the biggest festivals in the country, I started doing all the designs, and I don't know. So somehow it became my job. I worked there for 2 years. Then I was freelancing for 2 years. And then because I wanted to have more time for music, I decided to open my company. But it kept me a little bit inside, So it was a fun time. But anyway, because I wanted to have more time, now I don't have more time, enough time. It's really funny.
I mean, that's how life goes, right? I've got the show, we put out 5 shows a week, and there's things that I want to do. Like I need to update the website. I need to write more and design more new content. And, I need to go out and find more clients so I can do more on my own. But there's just not enough time for all those things. Just looking at you, you look like you've been up for a long time. You don't get a lot of sleep. Have you reached the end of what you can do in terms of capacity? And now you just have to say yes and no to certain things and just be good with it? Or is there still more where you can still try to add on your plate?
No, not anymore. I don't think I can add any more things, definitely. This is like the maximum, I think, but maybe Elon Musk can do more. I don't know.
Give us a sense what it's like, because, this show goes out to Japan, by the way. A lot of people in Japan listen, and a lot of people in France listen. What is it like being a punk rock dude who does some programming and some app design? What's it like in Macedonia? Like, how do you see the future of the country, of Skopje, all of that stuff? Give us a sense for what you see.
If I can tell, basically what happened is that Damjan really knows the situation. We had this right-wing government for ruling for 10, 11 years. When things were suddenly about to go up, they didn't. So it was really a strange time to live in. And now, from a few years ago, finally the government is changed. So I think that a lot of things are going in positive direction for the country. So lots of new opportunities for people, lots of things to do, lots of businesses to be opened, But in general, at the same time, also a lot of people are leaving the country, and it's a really small country. I'm not even sure if we're even 2 million people, because so many left the country in the recent years. So I don't know, maybe from one side, I think everything is going in a positive direction, but from another perspective, I'm not sure, because really a lot of people are leaving this country and the Balkan region. So who knows how it's going to be? I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to stay here forever,
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So the future is uncertain. Let's just play what if. What if you were to go, if I was going to go Hawaii or whatever, where would you go?
Oh, I don't know. I really like the sea, so I really like Spain. Maybe definitely where it's sunny and there's a lot of young people and lots of opportunities. So I'm not really sure, but maybe I would choose Spain right now if I have to decide one place. I also traveled 2 times in Asia. Everything is really totally different, completely different culture, but it's so exotical. It's crazy cool for me. So I would also maybe live in Asia somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, cool. Now, I've heard this story. I'm not sure if it's true, but you couldn't find the perfect application to organize your week. So you made it yourself. Is that right?
Yeah, there's an app called Word.
Yeah.
So my brother, who is 7 years younger than me, or actually me, I was organizing my week in a funny way. I made an Excel file with 7 days of the week, and I was just adding the tasks each day and moving them to the other day. So I tried to find a software which is proper to use, but all the softwares were like either for a month or a to-do list. So there weren't too much software for weekly tasks. So how we decided with my brother, who is 7 years younger than me, he's a developer. So this is how we decided to create the app. So the development took 1 year, but it was really a side project for both of us, like whenever we had the time. So this, in general, maybe we worked on that for 3 months in total. I don't know. So, but the app is still not marketed. So it's really not, it's not marketed. It's just existing. And currently in about 2 weeks from now, it will go out on iOS and Android. So currently it's only a web-based app.
Yeah, when this show goes out, it'll be live, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be live.
Yeah. Cool.
I would like to pitch an app to you right now that maybe you could design for me, because I like Borix, and I'm saying it the best I can. You guys could probably say it better, but I can never find a place that has good Borix. And so I'd like just to have the Borix app, and I push the button, and then about half an hour later, delicious Borix show up at my house. Can we do this?
Yeah, sure. We can think of something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is possible. It's 2019, right?
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, maybe. I guess it depends on who you talk to. You know, a lot of us here in the U.S. are just so self-loathing about the U.S. that nothing is possible. Everything is horrible. The sky is falling, and global climate change is going to kill everybody. And I guess there's always people like that. You guys must have something like this, right? Where so many of you are just, the sky is falling. Nothing good is going to happen. We're all a bunch of assholes.
Yeah, this was to be, I think back like a few years ago when we had the right-wing government, it was really crazy. So everything sucked and everything was a disaster back then. And all the people were really like depressed.
Just a real quick question. Someone here, let's just say someone in Japan who's listening to this and they want to get that punk rock style, or Australia or whatever. What is it about your brand of music that's going to stand out? Like maybe they love Pennywise. Is that what you're like? Or maybe they love DRI and they love skate punk or whatever. What kind of punk rock do you create?
Well, it's mainly like the 90s punk rock with, as you mentioned, like skate punk, like similar to Pennywise or something like those bands. But I think that in time, we started developing a little bit our own style. Maybe if you listen to our latest 2 records, you'll see that it's not anymore so much like the riff, the classical riff. So we change it a little bit. We have our own sound, I believe so. We want to call it melancholic punk because we have all the minors in our music, and it's all about a lot about personal matters. So yeah, and what can put us aside from other bands, I guess, is that we really, really want to play live and we give all our energy out. So if you had the chance sometimes, come to our show, you'll see what I'm talking about. Like we really go crazy. I think Damjan went to a few shows here.
Yeah.
One of the first shows I've ever been, that was on the New Beginning. So you introduced me to punk rock actually in life. Yeah.
Cool.
We had Angelo Moore on the show. He's the lead singer from Fishbone. And you talk about leaving it all on the stage. That guy, full energy, has absolutely no fear artistically. He'll play the giant bass sax. Gosh, he'll play any damn thing. Like they always make the artistic choice, like where the Red Hot Chili Peppers are sort of like brother band and they made a little more popular choices. Fishbone's always made the artistic choice.
Yeah.
Does that resonate with you, or do you want more success than that? Like, do you want to go more? The Chili Peppers is like, they're a world famous band, but do you want to compromise your artistic integrity to have a little bit easier financial life? Or would you rather be more true to who you guys are and what you create?
To be honest, like maybe if we had the chance to become a bigger band than what we are, maybe none of us would have worked different things in life. I don't know. But at the same time, I like it that it goes this way because, we are a band who have every year we have an agenda, like we're going to go here, we're going to do this, but the writing process and all this creative stuff, it's never pushed. Like it's always natural. Like might take 3, 4, 5 years to write the record, and then to play it, it's like completely. We will never go and make a record on purpose. It must go natural. So if it's manageable to have this artistic experience in a band and live from that at the same time, then you're the most luckiest band alive. I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
When you look for your inspiration, what's something that's going to surprise us about where you draw your musical well from? Is it like a silly band that you're like, I just love these guys? So we have a guy here who's a friend of the show. He's been on. His name's Bryce Vine, and he's young. He plays more hip hop music, but he loves Third Eye Blind I can't remember who it is right now. 3 Doors Down or something like that. Yeah, I think it's 3 Doors Down. Loves them. Not at all his genre. Is there something like that where you're like, I just love this kind of music and I draw inspiration from it?
Oh, definitely. I don't even listen to punk rock in the last 6, 7 years. I mean, I listen to only maybe, if you see my Spotify, you'll see that maybe it's just 3% of what I listen. I really listen to a lot of different styles. I like to get inspired from totally different things, like from maybe some drawing artist, or I don't know, anything you can get inspiration out of, But especially if you want to do music, for me, because I'm doing music all my life, I think that you must listen to all kinds of music and get inspired from everything around you, Because if you listen to only one style, and you're probably going to end up with one of those copy bands, I guess so.
So what's next for Fitz?
Yeah, good question. I'm running around with the company, trying to bring more work. We are, by the way, a team of 10 people now, trying to make my first EP with my project Black State, trying to get it ready by the end of the year, and also try to get ready a live show of maybe half an hour by the end of the year so I can play it live next year. The beginnings, the band, we are trying to book a tour in Turkey right now. Yeah, for the end of October, but it's slowly, like really slowly going on, and I'm not sure if it will succeed, the booking. So right after that, we already have around 10 songs from the last 4 or 5 years, maybe, when the last record in Macedonia came out. So we're trying to put all of this in a record and maybe go in the studio early next year to record them. The record label is not functioning really, so that's a thing on the side. The board app with my brother is, I guess we're gonna try to find some money to market it or something like that. My brother is going to the US, so maybe he finds something there.
Yeah.
I think I didn't miss anything. Sometimes I have to watch everything I do to tell you what I plan on everything.
Yeah. Talk to Damjan for a second. Look at what he's doing. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, we're bringing a big voice to the Balkans. We're really focused on that because I love what you guys do. But here he is, no shit, doing it. He's talking to you.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to say to him?
First of all, he introduced me to the show and everything, but I'm really curious, and if I might ask you, how did you guys met and how did you started doing this? Because it's really cool that you're doing this together.
Yeah, actually, as you know, I'm doing podcast production. Actually, I'm working in the radio station. You were guest there.
Yeah,
if you remember.
Yeah.
It somehow found me on some internet platform, and we started working, and probably like the things I'm producing, and now we are doing 5 shows a week, and it's going really well. Yeah, and I'm
really awesome.
Yeah, I love doing this where I'm co-hosting the episodes. So you're the first Macedonian guest, and I'm really excited.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us. We want you to come back. We want to know all about the Balkans. We want to know all about Europe. So whoever you can recommend for us to have on, the show, we're purposely taking it international. We're always going to tell American stories, but America is, there's a lot of Balkan folk and Slavic folk here, and so
yeah.
The world's a big place, and it gets a lot smaller when we all start connecting and talking. We're all in 3 different countries right now and having a great chat. So thanks for contributing to that love that we're trying to spread around the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what you do, guys, with the show. It's really cool. For me, it was also like the traveling, what I was telling you about tours, like meeting all these different people and different places. It's all about the, exchanging different opinions and experiences. So what you do is really cool, I think.
Yeah, thanks, Fitz. Thanks.